left to go but up.
What's going on, YouTube? Dannydecks here. So with the seasonal tournament just ending, I wanted to post my results and make a pretty educational video about it and what I've learned. I learned quite a bit. This is only my second seasonal. I ended up going 6-3, which is not amazing. I would have needed a minimum of probably 8-1, honestly, but 7-2 was not totally out of the thing. I was like 67th on ladder, which is not insanely high, but it's probably not high enough to go 7-2, honestly. However, I did play for the 7-2 potential just because you never know. That was my thing going into it. I knew it was going to be tough. I wasn't really all that prepared. I thought 6-3 was an okay result, honestly. And I needed a lot of practice in tournament play, honestly. So I think this upcoming, like moving into the next seasonal, I'm going to, one, focus on climbing the ladder to, you know, top 30 or whatever it is. I think I definitely could. I climbed solid almost 200 LP in 1 or 2 days before the tournament cutoff was, so that I could have a decent ladder placing. And I see no reason why I couldn't have just kept going had I had more time or invested more time into it. Another thing is my picks and bans felt a little bit weird, and my lineups. So what I mean by that is tournament format, the best of 3, is a totally different way to play the game than ladder. Ladder is really just bring the deck with the highest win rate and you'll get there, or bring the deck that counters the deck with the highest win rate, because most people will play that deck. Either way, it's a best of 1 format, and you're really just, it's not quite the same as being able to ban something out. So something like Kennen, for example, while it's very powerful, in tournament setting, it may not be as powerful due to the fact that you can just constantly ban it, right? If you feel like you don't want to play against that deck, you can just ban it out, or you could just bring a full lineup that beats that and ban something else and you know, force them to get a win with that deck. It doesn't mean the deck's weak or anything. Obviously, it's still so strong even in tournament, but it's just a different way to play the game. I need more experience picking and banning in that regard and making my lineup. In terms of my lineup, this is actually what I decided to go with. So I went with a Shadow Isles PnZ Kindred Jace Elise 2-2-2 split. And this is just a Shadow Isles control deck, Shadow Isles PnZ. This deck actually got banned the most for me, I think. Pretty sure this was the deck that got banned the most. I didn't get to play it all that much. However, it didn't really let me down. I don't think I lost any games with this deck. I also brought my Kennen Ezreal, and this was really a huge shining star for me. This deck crushed. It did get banned a couple of times, but for the most part, anytime I got to play this deck, it won. With one exception, which I'll go over later. So yeah, this deck performed amazingly well. I really liked it. And this is the deck that actually I feel like was a liability, and I probably shouldn't have brought, although it felt right at the time. This is kind of where the whole strategy of the tournament format I really need to work on. Basically, this is just a Shadow Isles Feel the Rush deck, and I will admit I don't have the most experience on this deck, and this isn't even my deck. I just got it from one of my, so I didn't even have to make any tweaks. I kind of liked his list as was. I did play test it a decent amount, and I found it to be pretty good. So yeah, I brought this deck. It felt like it was going to be good. I really wanted to be able to beat aggressive decks, and that's why I brought this deck, right? Because my thought was, if I run into multiple aggressive decks, I have Spooters and Feel the Cold to deal with them. What I didn't really consider was they would just ban one of these decks, and then I'm forced to win with Ezreal Kennen against a super aggressive lineup, and that's much harder. So yeah, it was definitely in my I was thinking like this is going to be great against aggro, but I didn't really consider how this will do against other decks, or if I end up running into a giant, like a triple aggro lineup, they just ban it, and then it doesn't even matter. So just a learning experience for me. These are the 3 decks I brought. Ezreal Kennen probably won me the most games, followed by the Spooters, and then Feel the Cold. So Ezreal Kennen did really well. A lot of times I played it first. Actually, that's not even true. Feel the Cold I played first because I felt like it was the weakest. And Hextech Spooters, it just performed well. I don't think I dropped a game with this deck. And if I did, maybe like one here or there. It was just solid. So that was my lineup going into the seasonal. that was kind of my idea. My thoughts were I would have a pretty well-rounded lineup, and I would have 2 decks that are very good against aggro, and 2 decks that are very good against control, with one that has a pretty decent matchup against either. So I thought my lineup was pretty well rounded out. I just think that I needed to be a little bit... I think I should have changed Feel the Cold to something else. I'm not quite sure what I should have changed it to, but this deck definitely felt like a liability, and my lack of experience playing it also, you know, was definitely a liability as well. With that out of the way, I want to get into some of the losses that I took. So I would like to go over my losses rather than my wins so much, and what I liked, what I didn't like, a couple of other things. There's also going top of the ladder. Like, being top of the ladder gives you the advantage that you can actually, like, if I was like, I don't know, probably top 30 maybe. Yeah, top 30 would probably be usually top 30. You can extend it to maybe top 50. Unlikely though. So if I was at like 460 LP, for example, or something going into this, I would have had a decent chance at getting the 7-2 draw, but more than likely I needed to be really high up here at like 600 LP, which is not unrealistic. I really didn't play a lot of ladder this season, and I didn't really push for ladder, so I think I could have got 600 LP if I really was pushing for it. And this just gives you a significant advantage. When I had lost games, like once I was down two losses, I actually got a free win. Like, my opponent just forfeited, which is bizarre to me, right? And then you realize they know they have no way to get to play, and they just want to collect their rewards, or whatever the case. They don't have a fill. So being able to go 7-2 is like 10 times easier than having to go 8-1. When you're playing for the 8-1, everybody you're facing is still in the running, and they're trying hard, and they're all super good players. Whereas once you're in the 7-2 bracket, you're going to get free wins. You're going to get just people who don't really care all that much. It's just a whole different ballpark when you're playing in the 7-2. So if you really ever are interested in actually winning one of these seasonals, you should try to go top 30. Like, that's really it. If you can go top 30, you're probably guaranteeing yourself the ability to go 7-2. And 7-2, like I said, is just... not only because you get the extra loss is it easier, but because your opponents are easier, and you get the potential for free wins. It's like, if you really want to win this thing, you got to set yourself up. This is why Majin Bay does so well all the time. I don't think he went 7-2. I think he went 8-1. I'm not sure. Like, he's a good player, and he does very well regardless. However, he sets himself up for success by giving him the ability to go 7-2, and it's just such an insane advantage. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure the way that the seeding works is first place is against last place, and so on, like that. Which means the higher ladder place you are, the easier your first matches are going to be. Like, if you're in the middle of the ladder, you're going to be facing a decent Masters player. Whereas if you're at the bottom of the ladder, you're going to be facing a top Masters player. And that's just kind of like, you know, pretty big disparity in skill. And if you're like rank 1 in ladder, like Mr. Kevor over here, you're going to be facing a Gauntlet player, which is like, that's probably a free win for him. No offense to the Gauntlet players, obviously, but this guy is #1 ranked ladder player. He's probably going to have a pretty damn good chance to beat someone who got in through Gauntlet. So, ladder position is probably the biggest advantage. Another thing is it's fatigue, right? So this was 9-hour tournament where I had to be there and attentive and, you know, really grind it out. So you start to get tired. Your first couple games, you're like, yeah, you're excited, and then you get burnt out. And even the first game. So the first game, I think it's pretty important also to be warmed up. I wasn't too warmed up going into this. I probably played about 3 games that day, 1 game for with each deck. I did win each game that I played with the decks, sure, but that doesn't really matter. I wasn't extremely warmed up. I think next time I'm going to try to wake up earlier, get all my stuff done, have my breakfast and my coffee, so that way I can go in fresh and get like a solid hour or 2 of practice and be warmed up going into it. But yeah, so being warmed up is probably very helpful. Having a good rest, being high ladder placed, and being able to focus. You need to focus for a long period of time. It's fatigue. Downsides I found were, it was just very RNG. I mean, it's a card game, right? So RNG is always going to play a role. It just does feel really bad when You have the randomness of your opponents and the decks your opponent brings, as well as the card draws, and then even in some cases, which I will show, the card effects. It feels a little bit almost like it lessens the achievement of actually winning it, right? Like, from my experience, I got high rolled in a couple of games by my opponent, and it just felt so terrible. It was like, thank goodness I didn't spend 2,000 hours or whatever preparing for this just to get high rolled by some bullshit. And that can happen. It's a card game. It can happen. You gotta just brush it off, and you gotta understand that no matter how much you prepare and practice for these things, you can always just lose to card draw from either yourself or your opponent, or even the decks your opponent brings. There was one matchup that I just literally had I pretty much had no chance to win, and it was just based on the decks that my opponent brought, and there's nothing you can do about that. Like, do I, like, maybe I need a better lineup, perhaps, or maybe I just got unlucky. It's probably a mix of both, honestly. I think my lineup could have been a little bit stronger. I think it's really just the Field Rush deck that I would have changed. I really liked my Ezreal Kennen. It felt good, and I also really like Hextech Spooters. Like, the Shadow Isles PnZ control felt really good too. So the only liability I really felt like in my lineup was the Field Rush, which it did have really good matchups, but it just had too many bad ones, and it was a little bit of a heavy deck. So yeah, let's get into some of my losses now. All right, so this is my first series that I lost here, and I'm up against a Caitlyn Teemo, an Ezreal Kennen, and a Diana Zoe. My thoughts going into this were I could beat Diana Zoe with any of my decks probably pretty easily, and Caitlyn Teemo is probably going to beat me. However, I banned Ahri Kennen anyways. That was my thought process going in. For anybody who doesn't know, you actually can look at your opponent's whole decks, and that's kind of what I'm doing here. I'm looking at whatever decks they're bringing, the number of cards. I'm taking note of this, and that. Like, he has this many Hushes, this many mini morphs, this many whatever. So, taking count of their cards and determining how strong they are, and that's really what I'm doing here. So my plan was I want to be able to take out the Zoe Diana. So I thought the Zoe Diana would be an easy win for me, whereas I figured I would lose to Caitlyn Teemo and potentially Ahri Kennen. I brought in Ahri Kennen, and that's how it goes. So what ends up happening here is basically he bans the Ezreal Kennen, which I think Ezreal Kennen is pretty good against all of his decks. Maybe not so much the Puff Caps, but I would think it was good actually against the Puff Caps, honestly. Basically, this game, goes as expected. I picked Trendemir's deck first, or the Field Rush deck first, basically because I think it has a lower chance of winning. Fast forward through. Basically here, I got a little bit unlucky, honestly. So I'm at 15 health. I don't have that many Puff Caps in my deck, and I just draw 3 back-to-back. So on like a chance to probably draw 1.2 per card, and I literally hit 3 back-to-back, and that's that. I don't think I was in a position to win that game anyways. It wasn't impossible. I was like one atrocity away from just ending it. Maybe. So I can't be too upset about that loss. I expected it. This is the one that kind of tilted me, though. Same idea. I picked the Trendemir deck or the Field of Rush deck because I feel like the Field of Rush deck has the higher chance to lose, and I would just like to get it out of the way. This is kind of where I get a little bit tilted. So, let's see it. He basically gets a Cosmic Inspiration off of a Lunari Priestess, I believe it was. And that causes every single card in his deck and hand to get +2/+2. It was a pretty high roll in terms of he actually got it. He was playing from a card that has the chance to go through the entire pool of Celestial cards and not just like, set number. So I felt like that was a little bit lucky. However, it's not, the end of the world, but it did feel somewhat tilting. And, typical stuff. He's obliterating my units. He's silencing my stuff. Still not anything too crazy. None of this really is all that big a deal. I still feel pretty comfortable that I'm going to win this game. Fast forward through. And I deserved to lose this game here. So This is another thing. He basically stole my flash freeze, which I don't know what the odds on that are. Probably like 50-50, honestly. I must have cast at least six or so spells by this point, giving him like a 50% chance to hit it. It is what it is. So he hits my flash freeze. That sucks. However, we're still going to be able to close this game out. Right here, it gets a little bit tilting. He's basically in a really bad position, and essentially he ends up I think he looped like 3 Pale Cascades in a row. He Pale Cascade into Diana's Pale Cascade, which just, it made him take a lot less damage than he needed to. So anyways, that's not really that big a deal. It was a little bit lucky for him because he would have probably wanted to block with his 7/7 elusive if he wasn't just looping Pale Cascades in order to, block better. But still, not really that bad. This, however, is where I deserved my loss. So this right here is the biggest mistake that I made, and this cost me the game, and I didn't deserve to win because of that. So what ended up happening was I felt like I had the win, and if I Atrocity Tryndamere, it doesn't matter what he does because Tryndamere is going to die and come back to life. I didn't really think about Minimorph, and, it's just me being bad. I was counting his cards the whole time. I know he didn't use Minimorph. It just kind of slipped my mind. This is where getting in that early practice, being attentive, and all that stuff really comes into play. So there's a couple mistakes wrong with this. One, I should have waited until the combat step if I wanted to go for the Atrocity. That would have made way more sense. I could have at least potentially got him to spend any mana. If he spends even 1 mana on some sort of combat trick, then I can get him. 2, I had him dead next turn. There was no reason that I actually needed to play it like this. So what I could have actually done was I could have played a Withering Wail to heal for 3, which would negate Zoe, which then puts me at 8, and then I could have flash freezed one of the otter thingies, and that would have put me at 3. So I could have survived this turn with 3 HP. I ended up not surviving with 3 HP. I basically got myself the loss. I should have played it safe, and if I wanted to go for the Atrocity, there was no reason for me to Atrocity during main phase. It's such a noob move. I even should have maybe even Vile Feasted. Like, I could have technically Vile Feasted to heal for 1 and played the Whale, played the Flash Freeze, and then I'm basically safe. I don't really see him killing me. He just played the previous turn like 3 or 4 Pale Cascades in a row. Unlikely he has another one, and even if he does, he needs like so much damage to close this out. It was so unlikely I would lose. What I should have done was play defensively and tried to kill him on my next attack. Instead, I make the zero brain play of just saying, okay, you know what, we're going to do this. We're going to Atrocity him. I was thinking he's dead. I'm like, okay, got him, right? And Minimorph says no. I could have easily won this game. I had leveled up Trundle, and I had a Ledros coming down. Ledros puts him at 3, and then Atrocity, he kills him through Minimorph. It doesn't really matter. Not to mention, he has to deal with 2 Overwhelm units. Like, I had this in the bag next turn. It's very unlikely that I would have lost. But, that's how it goes. So, I deserved this loss. I just misplayed. I wasn't thinking. And then I just die to, the elusives that I could have prevented myself from dying to. So, this is actually my second loss here. And I did not ban Ahri Kennen in this matchup. The reason being, he had Soraka Tahm Kench, and I thought Soraka Tahm Kench was going to be a problem for me. The only deck I have that could actually deal with them, or with the landmark, I should say, is the Ezreal Kennen. And all they had to do was ban that deck out, and all of a sudden, I literally cannot beat that deck. So I thought it was a little bit safer to do that. And I also, his Ahri Kennen list was actually pretty scuffed. You can't see it here, but when I was going through his list, it was not a regular list. It was running like Green Glade duos. It was more aggressive list for sure. He had like 0 copies of Deny, I think. His deck was actually really scuffed, and I didn't think it was good, so I thought I would be safe to not ban it. And if I took a loss to it, I took a loss to it. It was almost guaranteed I would lose to Soraka Tahm Kench, whereas a bad version of Ahri Kennen I could probably beat. That was my logic. And then Aphelios Victor was just a random scuffed deck. It was running one copy of Catastrophe. That's about it. I thought no matter what, I'll beat the Victor Aphelios deck, and that was my thought process going into this, and I have a pretty decent chance of beating the Ari Kennen. So he ends up banning out my Shadow Isles. I banned out his Tam. Now we're playing the Somewhat Mirror. This is Ezreal. And for the most part, this game was going pretty well. I didn't get the best draws, so I was in a little bit of a tight position. However, I was really close to leveling my Ezreal, and I was going to have a second Kennen on the board. The game was going to end in my favor the next turn. So next turn, all I had to do was essentially survive this turn, and I would win the following turn using the Kinku Wayfinder plus my Ezreal, etc. So what ends up happening, though, is we get into a little bit of a stack battle, and it's all looking okay. I'm going to be fine here. Basically, I get to keep my Kennen. I could replay my Kennen the following turn, level up my or I could replay the Kennen this turn, shoot something, level up my Ezreal, play the Wayfinder, and just completely pop off and end the game. So I'm playing to end the game the following turn. However, my opponent basically says, I have 2 Twin Disciplines and you're dead this turn. Not much I can do. That was his 3rd Twin Disciplines this game. The game wasn't particularly long. He didn't really draw a lot of cards. He wasn't running Sign-In. He was even like running Recalls. Like he ran 1 copy of Recall actually, and he had it on turn 1. Like, so lucky. I don't know. I mean, I definitely could have played this match better for sure. It is what it is. I didn't play around double Twin Disciplines. I was trying to play to win, and I wasn't trying to, just play to survive. I'm sure I could have blocked this different, and I'm sure I could have played the game up to this point differently. However, I wanted to set up for my win condition the following turn. Ezreal was 5 out of 6 here. I was going to have double Kennens. I was going to be able to just blow him out. So I was playing for the blowout. It happens. He got his 3rd Twin Disciplines back-to-back, double twins. What can you do? This one, however, this match made me so mad. Actually, no, not this match. I beat him pretty handily with this deck. Yeah, Ezreal. So Ezreal Kennen beats his janky Victor deck. Now it's up to the Feel the Rush deck, and I'm still feeling pretty confident. And there's not much that he's got going on. Pretty much in firm control of this game the entire time. Now, I Feel the Rush here. And this game is pretty much all but over at this point. At least you think so. So here's what he gets. So he steals my Flash Freeze. He's running 2 Spell Thieves in his deck. Only 2. He steals my Flash Freeze, which allows him to survive here. Okay, sure. No big deal. And then, the following turn, he actually gets my Feel the Rush. So this is probably a little bit less than a 50-50. I've played a ton of spells at this point. So for him to actually hit my Feel the Rush, he's like sub 50% odds. Not to mention him even having the second Spell Thief. Like, it's a 2 of in his deck. He hasn't drawn that many cards. We're not really that deep into our decks. I felt like that was already pretty lucky. So up to this point, he's lucky to have survived, and I think he was pretty lucky to even get my Feel the Rush. But whatever, no biggie. That's not even the part that tilted me. I was like, you know what? I can deal with this. So he Feel the Rushes. This is the part that absolutely drove me nuts, this next part here. So I'm thinking, it doesn't matter. My units have Overwhelm, his don't. And he wants to play Lifesteal on a unit. Sure, I'm not too worried about that. I have a Flash Freeze. His Victor actually rolls Lifesteal. I lost my mind. The 1 in like 15 chance, or whatever number it is, to hit Lifesteal, I was losing my mind here. I was so upset. So annoying. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. We're still going to win. I still felt like I was going to win. Even after all of this, I'm like, I still got this. Don't worry. Basically, he plays out a ton of his stuff. He gets lifesteal on this because his Aphelios, now he has 2 Aphelioses, which reduce the cost of his weapons by 2, plus a leveled up Victor. All of his moon weapons cost 0. He has another Gift from Beyond in his hand. And this guy just pops off. He totally pops off here, and it doesn't even matter. So, even though he pops off and basically goes back to full, kills none of my units, and the following turn, I'm still going to kill him. I'm still like, you're still dead. And at this point in the game, I have drawn 0 Ruinations and 0 Vengeance. So I have 5 cards in my deck, in the bottom half of my deck, I should say, that literally end the game at any moment. Like, if I have one of those cards, this game is over. And I don't get any of them, obviously. So a little bit annoying. So it's still not over, though. I'm like, okay. I Trundle Icequake here, and I kill the whole board, or his whole board. Seemingly, like, for sure this has to be a win. So I'm still confident. I'm like, how the heck is he going to possibly stop this? And it's just such a tilting experience. Okay. So attacking. He gets 2. So he top decks a second Mystic Shot, or technically a third Mystic Shot, because he has already played one this game. So we're about halfway through our decks. This guy has gotten both Spell Thieves, steals my Feel the Rush on like a sub 50% chance, which is not that rare, but still pretty lucky. 1 in 15's Victor lifesteal to even have a chance to survive. And he gets a Guiding Touch that literally puts him at 2 HP. So at this point, I'm still not totally, I'm like, okay, whatever, right? That's annoying. He should have been dead like 3-4 turns ago. He just literally got lucky over and over and over. Lunari Priestess is a little concerning. I'm afraid that he's going to have the double Meteor. However, even then, not really that worried. I have another Feel the Rush. I think this game is over. There's no way I can lose from here, right? Well, if you thought that, you would be wrong. So he plays his 1 copy of Catastrophe. So the odds of him hitting all of these cards, all of these keywords are just like, if you actually math that out, this is like the luckiest game ever for this guy. Now, I could have probably played better somewhere along the lines. I'm not saying I lost totally due to luck, but this was insane. Like, the odds are so low. And keep in mind, I'm running 3 Vengeance, 2 Ruination in this deck. I could easily kill that. I also have 2 other copies of Freeze. I have 1 Twin Sisters and 1 Flash Freeze. So I have 7 cards in the bottom 20 of my deck that literally win me the game, and I just don't draw them. And this is kind of where I got really, really tilted here, and it just made me mad. Basically, I have to Avalanche in hopes of my last top deck being one of the cards I mentioned, preferably Vengeance at this point. Doesn't hit. He pulls my Pillar. He kills me. That's a loss. So this is my 3rd loss and basically the nail in the coffin for my run. I'm against a triple cheesy aggro deck lineup. And really, there's not too much to say here. This isn't even worth reviewing the games. The problem with aggro, in my opinion, is it's just a coin toss. This guy, if you look through his decks, he's running the triple decimates. All 3 of his decks are basically the exact same. He's probably running like 25 to 30 of the exact same cards in each of these decks. It's kind of insane. I don't know if that's like something they should not let you do, but it's whatever. I can't be too upset about it. So basically, yeah, I faced triple aggro, and I tried to beat him, and he just 2-0'd me. Flip a coin. He went first on both games, which is... I have no idea how going first works in these tournament settings. It felt like my opponents went first on aggressive decks all the time. Like, I faced Lurk. I 2-0'd a Lurk, and he went first both games. I thought that was so bizarre. He played the same deck 2 games in a row, and he went first twice. Although I did beat him both games, it just felt super weird that they wouldn't just, pass who goes first. I don't know how that actually works or how it's determined. Feels kind of dumb. Anyways, my opponent went first both games with aggro decks, and he just curved out, you know? Triple 1-drops on by turn 2, and so on. I couldn't keep up, and I didn't draw the cards I needed. That's really it. Not too much to say about this. The only thing I would say is next seasonal, I don't know if I want to bring 3 decks that beat aggro, because I don't want to be weak to everything else. This is the only person I ran into that was running a triple aggro cheesy lineup, and I had already gotten 2 losses at this point, so this person is already out of the tournament regardless, which means their lineup wasn't even good. Not to mention, the Jinx deck was suboptimal, and it was just aggro. Like, it's literally just Noxus aggro. All 3 of them. It was disgusting. I didn't expect to win. They banned out my Trendemir, by the way, in this match. I banned out their Pirate aggro. I thought Pirate aggro was stronger than the other 2. It turned out it didn't really matter regardless. I just didn't draw what I needed to draw, and that's it. You lose. Kind of cheesy, but yeah, got to be ready for those. So I just kind of want to end the video off with some matches that I thought were pretty fun, pretty interesting, kind of nail-biters. Just overall good games, and give you an idea of what it really looks like to play in the seasonal in terms of the gameplay aspect. Definitely not easy. All of your opponents are pretty good, and for me, I was nervous, and I think I need to work on my nerves. I think there's a lot of aspects to my tournament gameplay I can really improve on, as well as even just my regular gameplay. Moving into the next seasonal, I'm definitely going to practice more in tournament setting. I'm going to try to sign up for any of the tournaments that are smaller and just going around to get a feel for them better, as well as I'm going to really work on my ladder gameplay. That will also help me mechanically and improve my piloting of the decks that I want to bring, as well as give me a better shot, right? Being able to go 7-2 is just significantly easier. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoy the games. Please be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Alright, so the prep phase. Ari Kennen is probably the ban, and we'll have to take a look. This is a deck I don't really want to play against. Timewinder seems like an odd inclusion. And then Zoe Lee. So, let's check out his Zoe Lee. He's only running 2 denies, which is good to know. 2 denies and 1 hush, and he's running the full set of Eye of the Dragon. And the Fizz list is running only 2 Mystic Shots and 3 Get Exciteds. And only 2 copies of Fizz. Not too relevant. Alright. So, gotta ban Kennen Ari. I know his Kennen Ari's kind of scuffed, but I'll ban his Kennen Ari and hope that we can get there through these 2. Shouldn't be too bad. What's he gonna ban, though? He's probably gonna ban this list. I think this list does best against his 2 decks. And I'm honestly feeling like this Field Rush deck is kind of a liability, but we'll... Oh shit, I started my recording a little bit late for this one. So I banned his Kennen, or sorry, not his Kennen, his Ari Kennen, and he banned my Field Rush. And we are now playing Zoe Lee versus PnZ Shadow Isles Control. So this matchup is a little bit wonky. I should be able to take it out. I'm more concerned about his Lulu deck, honestly. So not bad. I have a Thermo if he wants to play Eye of the Dragon. I'll definitely play this out.
The sea is too shallow.
Try to start getting in some damage. He might have the dragon, and that's okay. Alright, I'm good with this. I actually think Kindred's better. I'm not going to play anything yet. I'll save the Kindred. Okay, I'm assuming Eye of the Dragon probably is going to come down. I still play Kindred though.
Embrace life.
Expect death.
I would like a fast speed spell. Or a second fast speed spell. He's running 2 denies, which means maybe the course of action is actually to find more hard removal with Pharaohs as soon as possible, and that way I can always kill his Lee.
How long must we wait?
If I get 3 Vengeances or 3 Vengeance type cards, then I'm pretty much guaranteed to be able to kill his Lee, which is a pretty big deal. So there's an Eye of the Dragon. I'm not going to do anything to it yet. I'm going to wait for him to cast a spell before I attempt to thermo, because he's only at 1 at the moment. And 1 doesn't do anything. Yeah, that's fine with me. Ledros is good. Yeah, I'll probably play Buru and Pharaohs this turn. See? I have 8 mana. Zoe's a little bit annoying. That's a good card.
If it's a people problem, I'm your man.
Definitely help me deal with Zoe. And this could actually just get a deny out of him, so I think that's the route I'm going to take here. I'm going to try to get him to cast deny. Since he's only got 2, every deny that I get out of my opponent is a big deal. He could go for like double twin disciplines, but even that's not a big deal. I don't mind that. This is going to be very threatening for him. So he's probably considering like deny or possibly double twins. Yeah, that's fine. Totally fine with that. So I likely start out next turn by playing the Kindred. Maybe not. Yeah, it's gotta be Kindred. I think Kindred makes the most sense here.
Shall we, dear wolf?
I'm ready, little lamb.
Wants to stun these, and that's fine. So I actually think I'll go this route. Try to get another card out of my opponent. Like, he doesn't want to lose his Eye of the Dragon. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get any denies out of him. This could be a Nopefiy. I just don't think Thermo Beam's very effective in this matchup, especially once he gets Lee on the board. So just casting Thermo whenever I have a decent opportunity is worth it. But he's really considering, like, does he want to Nopefiy this or protect it with a Twins? He's going to let it through. Okay, that's good. That means his Eye of the Dragon's dead. Alright, good with me.
Do they know, little lamb?
They will.
Alright, so Lee could be coming down. So no Lee, which is good for me. None of these are actually any good at all. Kinda sucks. I guess I'll take a progress day.
Shut up when I can.
I was really hoping for another Vengeance. I'm really gonna need a third Vengeance if I want to get through his defenses here. I think I might just play out all my mana into units and just go face. Depends what he does though. He's gonna pass. I'll take that pass actually. This is a fine pass with me. Atrocity is very nice.
Buckle up.
And we're just going. He's most likely gonna block here with some sort of combat trick, and I think I'm okay with that. Alright, that works too. Palm? Palm, okay. Fine. This Lee is going to be leveled. If he plays Lee, then I can just kill it. So, question here is... I think I want to cast this for enough that he has to cast Deny. I really want to get Deny out of his hand. Like I said, he's only running 2, which means there's a pretty good chance that I can maybe get one out early, and then I can deal with his Lee. Alternatively, I could just Kindred this. Okay, so he wants to go for Eye of the Dragon. Not too shabby. I think Spirit Journey is actually right. Because I do want to get that Deny out of him. And Spirit Journey will actually mark this. Fine. Deny. Deny. Huge. Absolutely massive. That's exactly what we want to see. Okay, that's good news. And... I mean, there's no reason not to play Thermo here. Let's get another card out of him. I'd rather he buffs this than he buffs this. So let's just Thermo and see if we can pick him off. So the question really is going to be, does he have 2 denies in his hand? So he had only 1.
Gently.
That's good. Kindred's going to level.
Their pulse fades away.
On to the next.
Alright, map is kind of whatever. Probably just go Ledros, actually. So that's fine. That means I don't need to worry about a Lee, I don't think. Let this through.
What is gained when we return malevolence?
And I'm just going to pass it down until he shows what he wants to do. I don't want to play Ledros into a Lee. Okay, Lee's a 5-mana card. So he could still technically play Lee and activate a Lee. Nah, you know what? Ledros time. Because even if he does have Lee, Lee won't be able to kill me this turn. And I really just need to set up as much damage as possible. So putting him at 9 here is good. Okay, so there's definitely no Lee coming. There might be, but it just seems unlikely. Seems really crazy if he wants to play Lee here. So I'm just going to attack with everything.
We do not linger.
And I actually do this. I Ledros map. And Kindred goes first. I think I do map. I think map works here. Okay, we'll go with the map. If you can stop it. Maybe Ledros map should have been the first one. I want a Withering Whale if he goes for a buff his thing and then block. So he buffs his thing and blocks. He's still dead here. He needs to block 7 more. Might actually go for the Atrocity, because if he has that second deny, I'll get it out of his hand. So he's going for the double block.
The dragon binds
So,
us.
if I go Atrocity now. Oh, whoa, game. Don't do that. I could go the Whale, though. Whale will get the second deny also, most likely. Yeah, I'll go with the Whale. Now, he could have... he could have the Nightfall card, Pale Cascade, which will protect his stuff. He would need 2 Pale Cascades. So there's 1. Does he actually have 2? He's going to 6 here. I'll have enough mana that I can Vengeance his Lee next turn, as well as Atrocity. So he can only stop 1. I guess he could technically have a bounce, like a Will of Ionia. Definitely should have attacked with Ledros first. That was a mistake by me. So I totally misplayed here.
It knows.
My attack order was wrong. If I was going to map Ledros, I should have put him first. And that could really, honestly, just be a game-losing play. Which sucks. So he's got to play Lee at this point.
Tell me a story, Lamb.
Once there was a star that crashed down to Earth.
But I have 13 mana, so I can cast both of these. I'll start with... Oh, okay, got him.
What happened to it?
Alright.
The star was rebirthed.
So I would have just started with
Man was reborn.
Atrocity or Vengeance on the Lee, and then if he denies that, then I have the Atrocity to follow it up for hopefully the kill. Yeah, so now Ezreal Kennen should be really good into Zoe Lee. As long as he doesn't just get like a leveled up Lee Sin on 5, which could possibly happen. I should be probably okay. It really is going to come down to my hand. As much as I actually kind of like a bunch of this stuff, I can't afford to play it. So I need to find Kennen or Ezreal ASAP. Okay, this is a slow hand for me. Extra slow, but at least his is slow too. Droplet is okay, but I'm going to pass. Second droplet is really bad because now my Wayfinder's not going to find me much.
Order rewards its fate.
Palm is good. This will help me with the Lee. Definitely play the Wayfinder. We go Wayfinder plus 2 droplets. That's 3. Not bad. He might play Eye of the Dragon here. Retreat, return. That's actually pretty good. We'll go with the Wayfinder.
First step's the hardest.
And we'll miss Allegiance. Okay, sure. That's not tilting. Missing Allegiance with only 3 cards in your deck. Oh well, at least I know I have Ezreal, I guess. I guess that's a saving grace, but this is really, really bad news. I'll probably have to retreat return my Wayfinder. Gonna palm. Sure. Guess I have to just attempt this. Not much else I can do about it. He might... Oh, he didn't. Okay, he let me actually do that. That's big. This means I can actually replay it and pick up some momentum. I can't believe that Ezreal, man. Like, that could honestly just lose me the game, missing that allegiance. It's really rough. Hopefully not, now that I can actually play Wayfinder.
Extend your senses. The dragon himself.
I'll play this. I'm gonna palm his Lee. I'll just wait for Lee to attack in before I palm him. Might grab my droplet, that's fine. If he passes, I'll take this pass. Okay.
Our enemies cannot
So I'm
hide.
assuming he's gonna pull
Prepare
this. Yeah,
yourself.
that's a smart pull. I could just let his... No, because he's got to play this. He's gonna barrier his Lee. Maybe I actually just let this go through. Letting it go through might be the way. Yeah, I actually think this is okay.
Master.
It's fine. That's fine. Alright. We got to save Palm. Palm's the only thing at the moment that we have for the Lee. And since he didn't have mana to deny it, I'd rather Palm something more dangerous. Like, that's whatever. He killed a couple elusives. Big deal.
Psst, act natural. I got you.
Yeah, it's a good draw. Alright, Wayfinder, let's do this thing. And that's another Kennen. So I actually play the Kennen, and then I'm going to play the Wayfinder. I do want to be able to start leveling the Ezreal. So Kennen's going to go to... I can get Kennen to 4. I can level Kennen. I can level Kennen while having Kennen on the board, which means... that's good news. We'll play this out.
Everyone here? Let's go.
Okay, that's good. I don't think I ever attack with Kennen. So yeah, the only defense I have against the Lee at the moment is Palm, which is really bad. Zenith Blade, not good. I mean, that's such a risky Zenith Blade, considering I could easily just have an answer to that, but whatever. Whatever, man. I might as well just double mark him. No, I'll just shoot one mark for now. See what he does.
The spirit gives to those who listen.
Walk softly.
Well, let's swing in for 5. See what's up. So if he has deny, he could actually technically OTK me next turn, which that's kind of what I was afraid of with this deck. They can just get like a really early leveled up Lee combo going. Kind of annoying. And missing that allegiance put me like a full turn behind. I would probably already have Kennen leveled and be threatening him. But not over. I really need to draw a deny or a homecoming is kind of what I need here. That's fine. That's 2 less mana for him for next turn. I'm not too mad about that. That's not good. Oh god. Game. I only have 9 mana, which means I actually can't even do a whole lot here. So I'd imagine he's likely to grab my Kennen. Right? That makes the most sense that he would go for a Kennen. He could just straight up kill me here, which is annoying.
Conflict is
Can
all
he
in
still
the
kill me
mind.
here? Now he definitely can, right? Yeah, one more he levels Lee. So if he does, we'll go to 5, 6, 7, 8. He's got 16. He could technically have 2 Twin Disciplines, except he can't deny. So actually, I think I'm good. I think I'm good here. I can definitely just palm him. Yeah, so he's got to use a spell. It's a second Lee, sure. Alright, I definitely just palm Lee Sin.
My lands need me.
Yep. So he can put this to 4,
Center your
technically.
spirit. Prepare yourself.
Makes sense. I still have one in hand, though, so... Should grab
Center your
Kennen.
spirit.
Oh, shit. If I palm Lee, I still lose my Kennen. I don't really want to lose Kennen. Which means I need to actually palm this in order to keep Kennen. Is that right? Yeah. But then I'm gonna take 10. Jesus. It's gotta be. It's gotta be the way to go. I gotta keep Kennen, because Kennen's my win condition, so. He's gonna put this on the Lee, and then I'm gonna go to 6. Oh, that's rough. That's very rough. I don't even get to keep my Eye of the Dragon. Alright, well, we'll level up the Kennen, at least, hopefully. Alright, so... Bounce Droplet. That's actually really good. Play 2 droplets, 1 droplet, and then 2 droplet.
Now you will see my final move.
So I need to get Ezreal on the board first. He can just bounce Ezreal though. Probably swing though. No. I would like Ezreal on the board.
I thought you'd never ask.
Let's see what he does about this. I'm kind of in a really shitty spot. Can definitely still get him. He's only running 1 Hush. He is running Will of Ionia. I have no way to stop Lee, so I'm pretty much dead next turn if I can't level out Ezreal here, which I really can't. The only way I can level Ezreal is if Ezreal hits face. That's going to be a tall order. He has to block Kennen and Ezreal has to hit face, so see how this goes. Probably not well. Okay, that's good. Take that. Second mark. Hopefully Ezreal can make it. Can do it, Ezreal. That's 7. 7. I'm at 5. He's gonna have answers, so. Do I ever just go for this? No, I'll save these. They're burst speed. Okay, this works for me. This works for me. And we'll just cast our spells one at a time. Hopefully we can get the Ezreal leveled. Alternatively, I can just bounce the Kennen as well to get an additional mark. That could be good. I have some...
Oh, take your time, pal. It's not like I've got better things to do.
Okay, so I definitely bounced the Kennen here then. We'll replace the droplet.
Sunlight guide you, my brethren.
And then this way I get additional marks. Just gonna go for another Eye of the Dragon, I guess. Okay, this means he doesn't really have much. He's gonna have 4 mana still, which means he can either double Nopefiy or he can deny. These units don't matter, honestly.
What is gained when we return malevolence? Do you realize now there is no hope to win against Tempest style?
I'm so good, I surprised myself.
So... I have to shoot, but... So this is 3, 4, 5. It's gotta be the way I go here.
Charge.
Technically can burst him for 2. I really need to be able to play this Kennen out. Or draw something good. That's not good. This is bad. He open attacks with 2 burst speeds in hand. I pretty much lose here. So my only hope of winning is him playing something at slow speed. So if he plays at slow speed, I have a chance. Okay, so he doesn't play at slow speed. He plays at dead speed.
My spirit.
That's annoying. Well, it is what it is. That's game.
You call that sneaky?
Yeah, just died of it.
Don't
Okay.
want any trouble.
Whatever. Right? Nothing I can do. Okay, he got me. So this is bad news because now I'm going to have to face the Yordle and Arms deck, which I don't think I'm very favored against. Missing that Allegiance is just so, like... I feel like I'm getting really unlucky today. Today is just not my day. Like, I hit that Allegiance and I'm literally one whole turn ahead of where I was. And he had 4 HP. Like, he was so killable. It's very frustrating. I guess I have to keep this. Shit, this deck is really good against me. I should have banned it, but I had to ban Ari Kennen. Maybe that was a mistake. Well, we'll have to see. You can always get there. I do have Denies in my deck for his Yordle and Arms, and I also have Nopefies and stuff for his other things. So double Wayfinder is not terrible, actually.
Hang on. We're rolling.
Okay. Probably just take 3 if he open attacks with that. I can't really do much about it. Ezreal is good draw to get out of the way, that's for sure.
Whoever here is.
I just want to draw. Kennen is a pretty good draw. He's gonna have it. Of course, like, this deck is so freaking annoying to face because they always have this stupid combo. Like, I don't understand how you can just have it every single time. It blows my mind. Absolutely mind-boggling. And now he's gonna have the 4/4 that buffs all of his shit. Because why wouldn't he? Okay, at least he doesn't. At least he doesn't have that. Okay. So I have to just chill here. This is gonna be like very, very difficult game to win. Honestly. Not impossible, but just very, very difficult.
Anything else?
Especially when he's just flooding the board already. Second Chompers. Okay, must be nice. Yeah, I'm in a very bad spot. So I do have to deny for a Yordle and Arms, because I'm pretty sure he can already Yordle and Arms, right? He's played, that's 2, 3, 4. Already played 4. So, could be a Yordle and Arms coming next turn,
But we will strike.
which I'll have to deny. I'm going to take a shitload of damage. I'd probably lose, honestly. I mean, sure. Whatever.
Sorry.
Play nothing, I guess. So even if he doesn't Yordle in Arms, I'm still taking an absolute ass whooping here. So yeah, this is bad. Insanity. Okay. At least I can palm. I can technically palm and recall.
They won't like this.
Okay. Sure. I don't want to recall that though. Definitely just palm this, right? Gotta be the way to go. I have the ability to level Kennen next turn.
I have mastered the rain, lightning, and cloud styles.
So I can level Kennen with this droplet. Can also recall Kennen here. We have a potentially explosive turn next turn, maybe. Have to see. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't have another one. That would be annoying. Alright, fine. What did he even discard for that? A useless card. Okay. I just play Kennen? I guess it doesn't matter. How many droplets have I lost? 2. So that means I can play Kennen, and then I can get a second Kennen.
I possess the secrets
Alright.
of King Ku.
We're gonna gamble. We will gamble and hope that he doesn't have another removal. Does not. And I always probably need to mark the chompers here. I need to get chompers out of the way. Okay. So I'm gonna play Wayfinder. Not gonna miss Allegiance. I'm gonna level up my Kennen.
Everyone here? Let's go.
Now
Yeah.
you will see my final move.
So this is good. And we also drew a Homecoming, which is nice. So I'm going to try to have 8 mana for next turn so that I can survive. I just need to survive one more turn. And I should be good to go. Okay, boom, baboon, sure. Kill Flame Chompers. I'm actually down to swing with everything except the Wayfinder.
This is Tempest. I didn't do nothing.
And I know that this is obviously a bad trade. I just need to get anything I can out of my opponent's hand. So, Pokey Stick. I think I'm okay with this.
A misstep.
So there's the Flame Chompers. Oh, that means I am going to double mark that. Should have played one at a time, but that's okay. And I can actually play my 1 droplet, which will give me an elusive blocker. For whatever Poro he decides to buff, I have an elusive blocker for now. And I get Homecoming and Deny. Should be able to survive this turn, and then next turn, as long as I can somehow keep my Kennens on the board, I win with Ezreal. It's really down to this turn and how he goes about it and what he's drawn. So this is a pretty close game, even though I feel like I'm heavily unfavored, and he had a really good start. So he has 10. Hopefully he doesn't Yordle in Arms right now. But actually I don't mind. Yordle in Arms would be okay. That's half his turn, and that's an easy deny. Okay, so he's not going to Yordle in Arms. Okay, so we need to take the least amount of damage possible.
It will be done.
You have much to learn. Ready.
Puts me at 2. I actually think...
You have much to learn.
I don't really want to lose 2 Kennens, but I can't risk losing right now. This makes sense.
Waiting for the right moment.
Yeah, I don't want to take any damage. He has burn in his deck. I need to be as safe as possible here. Like 1 Kennen should be enough, I think, to win. Yeah, so we're okay. Now, I definitely just don't play anything. I pass. No need. He could have double Get Excited, so I need to have Deny open. I can just play Ezreal next turn.
Are you ready?
And I'll have enough.
For a spin.
Yeah, I just pass. Don't ever want to play into getting killed by double Get Excited. That would feel bad.
Check me out.
Okay, I got the Ezreal on board. This is good
Thought you'd
news.
never ask.
And I have a bunch of ways that I can just replay Kennen over and over for the win. I think I start by attacking with Kennen, though. Okay, so then I can't start by attacking with Kennen. I have to just bounce the Kennen. Maybe I should have God-Willowed him. Yeah, that was a misplay. Yeah, I misplayed. That's okay, though. It's not the end of the world. Be able to get there, I think. That was a pretty high roll to get the landmark too.
Wind and
Very,
thunder.
very fortunate. So I don't attack with both. I do attack with this though. I don't want to attack with Ezreal. Actually, I do.
Sounds dangerous.
I do want to
I'm
attack
in.
with Ezreal. Because this puts him in get excited range, but I can just twins. I don't know if my opponent wants to go to 7. 7 is a little risky, in my opinion. Okay, so yeah, this is kind of exactly what I thought he was going to do. I don't think I ever deny it, though. And I actually just go this. So he can play the Lulu. So I got him at 2 health. I need 8 mana, which I will have. So I'll have enough to play my whole hand. That's not a big deal. He's got literally 1 card left, so I just need him not to draw the nuts, and I drew the nuts, so I think I win here. Okay. What a game, man. What a game. Holy cow.
Get 'em, Pix.
Sure, get him picked.
Anything helps. They won't like this.
So I don't think there's any combination of cards he can have that are going to help him win here, which is good.
And hugified.
You call that
technically-
sneaky?
Technically, I'm still alive here anyways. And we'll bounce this. Just because I want to reduce the damage I take. Got him. Okay, that was a scary matchup, honestly. But we made it. Ooh. Okay, tough game. But we eked out the win. Good stuff, good stuff. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I have a ton of Legends of Runeterra content coming up. There's also a new expansion that will be here in a couple of weeks, allegedly. And I'm going to be messing around with that like crazy. I'll be playing some tournaments from now until the next seasonal. I want to practice. I'm also going to be playing some high ladder. I'd like to push some good numbers this season. So I have a wide variety of content that I have in the works coming up. So be sure to look out for that. Please be sure to like, subscribe, drop a comment below. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and T-Dot out!